We begin our story with the protagonist named Yu Li Shin. He sits at a table by himself in a crowded cafe, tapping away on his laptop, or at least attempting to, because he only has two words typed on his Google Doc: one and day. I have writer's block, but my deadline is tomorrow. Yu looks at his phone, the same way you do when you're attempting to procrastinate. Hmm, I guess I'll organize unused apps. As Yu looks at his phone, he notices something. What is this? When did I install this? Is it a game? He taps on the app. God Maker. Welcome to the God Maker, the title screams out. When the app loads up, we see an ant. An ant? I can't even read the text. What kind of shitty ass game is this? I guess I'll try to press something. Yu taps on the screen. This might be hard for you readers to understand. As he taps on the screen, he hears a pop. But this is the story behind my hiatus. In the next scene, we see an army of red ants screaming and charging towards the protagonist as he stands atop of a hill. Li Yushin raises his finger in the air, pointing towards the sky, as a yellow lightning engulfs his finger. Gods, crushing in that finger. As he says this, lightning falls from the sky, striking down a large group of ants in front of him. Simultaneously, a giant ant clasps his hands together and raises it above his head. Yu shifts his eyes, slightly noticing the ant. The ant quickly strikes down towards Yu, destroying the ground. As the ant watches the dust settle, he notices the spot is empty. Behind him, floating in the air, at the same time, Yu Li Shin is charging up another attack. God's condemning middle finger. A monstrous flame launches towards the army of ants, engulfing them with a great flame as they screamed in despair. As Yu slowly floats down, he notices a scratch on his cheek and gets slightly annoyed. As he raises his hand to his wound, God's healing ring finger. His hand glows as he heals his wound, and in front of him is a monstrous centipede-like creature, glaring at our protagonist, ready to fight. Yu stands amongst the embers, readying himself. My name is Li Shin. Yu summons a flaming blue sword. I'm a web novelist. The monster screams as Yu jumps into the air, winding up his attack. In the next scene, we are in Li Yu's room, looking at his computer on the desk. It might be hard for your readers to understand. Bling! A notice goes off on his laptop. Due to personal reasons, the creator is on temporary hiatus. This is the story of why I had no choice but to go on hiatus. Before we continue the story, we must have a wider view of the world and the situation at hand. So one day, gates and dungeons appeared and monsters rushed out. Disaster has struck humanity. However, the appearance of hunters that awakened supernatural powers, the disaster became an opportunity. Thanks to the new energy and materials obtained by hunting monsters, a new hope was given to humanity's hunters. Hunters became divided from triple S class to G class, depending on their abilities, but G class's abilities were no better than ordinary humans. And there's a very slim chance for hunters class to change after evaluation. We want you, a hero that will save the world. Our unnamed main girl is staring at a propaganda poster for becoming a hero, while holding a re-evaluation request. Seong Miri, ability type lightning, class B. Miri says, this is the 10th evaluation already. Does it even matter how hard I train? Do you feel a slight shock right now? Miri notices. Is someone hitting on me right now? I'm too popular for my own good. As she turns around, she notices you. Please don't think I'm weird. I'm not usually this kind of person. Is this guy some kind of pervert? Mary looks annoyed while clenching her fist with lightning. Yu suddenly gets a phone call and apologizes to Mary, then springs away. The fuck is his deal? The receptionist then calls Mary. Miss Mary, please go to the evaluation room. Ah, yes, I'm coming. Mary receives her results and sees that she received the same results. I couldn't pass the B class again. Can I even surpass the limits of my class? Mary says while looking depressed. An emergency notification goes off on Mary's phone. Gate appearance in Seong Donggu, Seoul. A-class thorned bull spotted, requesting help from all hunters above A-class. A thorned bull. In the next scene, we see a reporter in the downtown Donggu Park area while it's being attacked by monsters and people are fleeing in fear. Right now, I'm in a park in the Donggu where a monster has started rampaging out of nowhere. People around cry for help. Save me, save yourself. Unevacuated civilians are still in danger. There is still no hunter on site. The monster is said to be a thorned bull. This is a monster capable of destroying the entire city alone. We see you amongst the crowd with a little boy rushing to get away from the crowd. As they're running, the boy trips. The boy turns out to be the protagonist's cousin. Seong-yeong, are you okay? Yeah. As they're sitting on the ground, they hear a loud monstrous scream behind them. It's the bull ready to attack them. Yu braces for impact with his cousin in arms. Lightning storm! A bolt of lightning comes from the sky and strikes the bull. It's Miri on a bicycle with a helmet, attempting to hide her identity. The bull growls angrily, annoyed by the attack yet unfazed. Miri is shocked. It didn't take any damage? Let's see if you can handle this. Miri jumps into the air and winds up as much as possible. Lightning storm! She majestically lands on the ground, slightly relieved. Did I get it? While dust obscures the vision, yet begins to fade, we see that the beast is still alive, and Miri is shocked and caught off guard. The beast rushes at Miri as she blocks the attack at the very last second. She's knocked onto the ground while badly injured. She crawls and struggles to get up on one knee. Shit, so A-class is on another level, huh? Miri hears the slight quiver of Yu's cousin and sees both of them in the distance. Shit, there's still people here. This is bad. Miri bites her lip, knowing that someone will have to stay behind. Run away, Miri says. The protagonist looks at her annoyed behind her back. I don't know how long I can last. Go already, Miri yells as the beast rushes towards her. I have to buy time. As Miri winds up another powerful electric attack, she notices. My power's weaker. As the beast draws closer to Miri, in fear, she begins to see her past. She's standing in a ruined city. She calls out for her mother and father and realizes that they aren't coming, and begins to cry. I won't forgive them. I'm going to kill them all. A mysterious woman says, Seong Miri, don't even dream about something like taking vengeance. As the woman looks at her with vicious eyes, we go back to Miri, in the present, standing in front of the bull. Don't make me laugh. I refuse to accept this, Miri says while charging up another powerful electric storm. At that moment, a sound echoed in my head. Crushing your next finger. As Miri screams, powering out one of the most powerful strikes she has ever used. Lightning storm! Miri shoots a lightning storm at the bull, lighting up the entire area. After the blast, Miri stands with a bewildered look as everyone praises her and guards stop the crowd from charging towards her. The reporter returns. Everyone, the Class B hunter, Lightning Empress, just defeated the Thorn Bull with an incredible attack. I defeated the Thorn Bull? What was that? That power just now, Miri says, while standing in front of the bull's corpse with a gigantic hole covering the top half of his body. The bull stands. I felt like I surpassed my limit. Miri turns around to see Yu bowing, being extremely thankful. Thank you, Miss Soo-young, Miri. I don't know how to repay you for this favor. It's nothing. I'm just glad that you're safe. Thank you so much. Yu leaves. Miri waves him away, then realizes something. Wait, how do you know my name? No one should know that I'm Lightning Empress. She recalls the moment before her devastating attack. The voice I heard in my head, it was his. She says while Yu walks away with his cousin. As we begin the next chapter, we see Yu Li-shin standing on a bridge. He's talking about how this bridge is the most popular bridge for game ending oneself. And he states that he's not here for that. As he's standing on the bridge, he's staring at his phone while recollecting what has happened to him. He states that he could have died along with his niece/nephew. It's all because of the phone. He winds up to throw the phone over the bridge and into the ocean. Well, at the same time, we change to the next scene where Yu Li-shin is recollecting what had happened to him a few days ago while inside the cafe. And unlike before, when he tapped on the ant, he was not transferred to another world, but yet a coin appeared out of the phone, hitting him onto the head and landing on the keyboard. As the coin lands on the keyboard, a notification comes up. Ant number 1 was crushed. As a reward, 1 god coin, Dark, was dropped. You are now one step closer to becoming an evil, power-seeking god who rules by force. Li-shin looks at this, extremely bewildered. Did I just awaken hunter abilities? As we pan back over to the corporation where Li-shin first met Seong Miri. He's there to take an evaluation exam. As he enters the building, The receptionist calls his name. The people in the lobby start to laugh at his last name. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I don't know why they're laughing at it. I tried to look it up, I couldn't find it, but I guess we're gonna go with it. Yu becomes embarrassed and tells the receptionist, please, just call me without my last name. The receptionist said, congratulations, Mr. Yu Lee-sen. The aptitude test results show that you have gained abilities. As Yu looks extremely shocked, he pictures himself being a pseudo Superman while surrounded by women. I won't even wish for A class. Please, just a D class. No, not even an E class. I would still be able to quit my job as a novel author and become a hunter. The receptionist says, you're a G class. As Yu looks supremely disappointed, the receptionist hands him a paper. On this paper has Yu's abilities, and his ability is the creation of matter. Yu states how he's a G class and he's pretty much a regular civilian. But the receptionist offers him to register for a license, which will cost about $2,800. Yu looks extremely disappointed as the receptionist asks him again. He declines and thinks that there isn't a single dungeon that he as a G class can enter, so it would just be a complete waste of money. As he stands there disappointed, he thinks, what was he even expecting? Let's go home and finish the chapter before the web novel manager starts harassing me. As we go over to Yu in his room typing on his laptop, it has more words now. Instead of just having 2 in the beginning in the cafe, he now has 6. As we look at his eyes completely drained at 2 a.m. in the morning, he realizes that he started typing 5 hours ago and he only has 6 words to account for. Yu thinks to himself, did I take a moment and cool my head? He turns on the TV to see the news. An S-class hunter was attempting a disaster-ranked Dark Dragon dungeon and has successfully completed it. Humanity is one step closer to salvation. As the broadcast ends, a commercial pops up with a beautiful hunter advertising a skin lotion. Yu gets angry. Everywhere I look, there are successful hunters. As he lays his head down on the bed trying to rest, stating that he hates to see them be successful, tries to get some sleep to clear his head. Then all of a sudden, an alarm goes off on his phone. He tries his best to ignore it and get some sleep, but he simply can't. What's with that stupid alarm? Why does it continue to ring without turning off? He gets out of the bed and picks up the phone, and next we see him tapping on the phone sporadically, coins popping out of it, filling his room. We transition to the morning time with Yu waking up to see that all of the coins piled up in his room decreased, and that all the coins used to say 1, but now there's fewer coins in his room and they all say 100. Then he gets a notification on his phone. Congratulations, unknown god. You have fulfilled the requirements to open God's store. Yu looks at the app and it gives him the option to open it. He thinks, by all means. And he taps the phone and a light starts to emit. We go to the next scene. We see 2 security officers standing outside of a door guarding it while the people inside are having a conversation. The person says, I would like to thank the president, the chief of the Hunters Association, and all of our important guests from the political and business world for coming here today despite your schedules. Our nation finally has a hunter who has opened up their hunter store. As everybody in the room becomes excited, oh, finally a hunter store at last. In Korea too. 2 gentlemen state how rare it is to see a hunter that has an ability to open up the hunter store. 2 people are called into the room. The first one to enter is a S-class creator, Sir Kang-woo, who unlocked the hunter store. Next to him is an S-class telepathic hunter named Jeong Minas. The host gestures them to the center of the room as President Jung is sitting at the head of the table intently. As we continue from where we left off in the last chapter, we are in a room filled with higher-ups discussing the now available hunter shop, while 2 hunters are beckoned into the room. The hunter with the ability to open up the hunter shop uses said ability. After it's open, the higher-ups are underwhelmed, saying that for how flashy that ability was, they didn't see anything, while confirming with the others that they didn't see anything either. After saying this, the telepathic hunter who was accompanying the creation hunter uses her telepathic abilities and shows the higher-ups the shop. They get extremely excited and start to state how compared to normal stores, everything in the shop is extremely cheaper. And they begin to discuss how they can make a profit off of buying and selling what's in the shop. I'm not gonna lie, they sound like scalpers, OD scalpers. The president interrupts them and says, the fate of the nation rests on this matter, so everything you hear must be kept a secret. And the state will assign 2 S-class hunters to the cash shop hunter, Mr. Kang Woo, for protection. While the telepathic hunter looks at them confused, with no mention of her getting guards. I'm not gonna lie, them not giving her guards is kind of sus because she allows them to see the shop. I guess she's disposable. Now we pan back over to you after you opened the hunter's store. A notification appears saying, congratulations, nameless god. You have met the requirements needed to unlock the god shop. Like in the last chapter, he opens up the shop by using only 100 gold he acquired from the previous night. When he does this, the coins disappear. You thinks, only strange coins appeared till now. But what if I can be like Kang Woo, the creation type hunter? I know there's bound to be a night and day difference between S-class and G-class, but let's see if I can at least make a little pretty penny off of this. You use the shop to see that he's unable to read the letters, similar to how he couldn't read the text from the ant in the first chapter. He thinks, what does this mean? Also, 10, 100, 100,000, 10,000? Then he came to the startling realization that it took him all night to get 300 coins. He thinks, what are these prices? It's like the prices of eggs. As he says this, the shop starts to scroll like a lottery machine, stopping at the cheapest thing on the list, costing only 100 gold. It moved on its own and stopped here. Does that mean it wants me to buy this? Bling. You brought the blind god's eye, unique authority. Blind god's eye, unique authority? What use are blind god's eyes? You suddenly goes blind and starts to freak out. My eyes, I can't see what's going on. I didn't actually go blind, did I? As you shuffles to look for his phone, he stubs his toe on a corner and breathes in pain. Oh, I can see again. Dude, that was terrifying. I can read the letters now. You's now able to read everything in the shop. We see Flames of Gehenna, Basic Item Pandora's Box, Planet Devour, Time and Space Regression. You states all of these have some exuberant names. Wait, what's this? He focuses in on a skill. He sees a skill with the category of Transcendent God, Exclusive Authority, Creation, Transcendent Class, Price $1 billion. Feel like I became a protagonist of a novel. G-Class. D-Class is G-Class till death, and the same thing with S-Class. But what if? Is there anything I could buy? As he scrolls down, he finds the holy grail of abilities. God's Crushing Index Finger. Ability type, growth. Since this is all I can buy, let's get it. Bling! You brought God's Crushing Index Finger, unique authority. As he looks at his finger bewildered, he starts to wonder if God's Crushing Index Finger was a skill. And as he says this, the AC turns on. God's Crushing Index Finger. God's Crushing Index Finger. God's Crushing Index Finger. Index Finger. As he begins to turn on all the appliances in his house with the ability he just acquired, he comes to a realization. I think this ability is a remote control. As we begin the next chapter, we see Yu trying to use his ability to complete his novel, but to no avail. And he says, as expected, I can't write a novel using this one ability. As he thinks that, his phone goes off. He sees that the caller ID says, great man in charge, and it turns out to be his manager. As he answers, he hears his boss screaming in his ear. Wow, Mr. Web Novelist, what you sent me before was so fun to read. As the manager screams into his ear, I was so surprised. And you think, so the story about killing these weak ants is fun? Yes, the subject was unique. It's the real deal. It's just one big problem. You're not subscribed to TJ Reads Manhwa. I'm sorry. I had to do the selfless plug, but now let's rewind. Yes, the subject was unique. It's the real deal. There's just one big problem. There's not another chapter. When's the next chapter dropping? You gets furious. This bastard, I got scared. Give me 2 days. No, 3 days. I'll send it to you once I'm finished. Whoa, Mr. Novelist, I wasn't looking forward to it that much, but now I am, as the boss hangs up. So the story about me killing these weak ants is fun? Let's go. As you starts to tap ferociously on the phone and coins pop out left and right, a notification appears. Bling. Number 302 has been crushed to death. One god coin, Dark, has been rewarded. As we look at you, we notice that all day he's been tapping and tapping away on his phone, as he continues to rack up coins that pile up and stack in his room. And as all the coins come together, and we see them form and stack into 100 gold coins. And he thinks, oh, so it merges like that. But he realizes that it'll be a while before he could buy something because the cheapest thing that's on the list costs about 1,000 coins. But then he zooms in and notices, the blessing of the god of growth, the lowest class god. What is this? It is the lowest class, but it can be more useful than God's crushing index finger. But you starts to get excited because of the growth skill, thinking about the potential growth that he could gain from said skill. As he pushes to gather 1,000 coins, as he continues to tap and tap on his phone all day, he notices something. There's an ant that isn't dying and is dodging every attack that he throws at it. And he thinks, what the? He notices that this ant seems to be bigger and look different compared to the other ants. Instead of being black, it's red, and it's a lot quicker, and wonders if it could possibly be a boss. Then he ferociously taps on the screen, attempting to get rid of the ant, but to no avail. The ant dodges all of Yu's attacks, and he gets furious and says, with my skills and tap revenge, I should be able to beat this ant. But Yu continues to miss, and he realizes that he can't catch an ant that's this quick, and he gets enraged. And then we notice, while all the time he's been tapping on the screen, he's been accumulating points, and now he has over 800. As he continues to crush them in a fit of rage and not necessarily aiming for the red ant, we transition into the nighttime. Bling! The karma of the nameless god has reached 800. There is 200 karma left until you obtain the title of a great evil god that seeks defeat and power. You will be rewarded if you obtain this title. Yu finally collapses from exhaustion and lays on the bed. And beside him, his phone has a notification. Bling! The authority of the blind god has been activated. Tracking dismissed offering 404. Yu wakes up in the movie theater and wonders how'd he get there. Flustered, he sees a movie on the big screen and becomes entranced. He sees an ant walking across a desert. So this is the true power of the Black Tribe's god, willing to sacrifice his own followers in order to kill me. His wickedness was somewhat to that of a demon. There is no more time to wait. Now we zoom in, we notice it's the red ant from before that the protagonist couldn't beat. I must let my fellow brethren know about this as we end this chapter. Hey guys, welcome back to another chapter. Before we start, I'm gonna just let you know I'm gonna start dropping more videos for you guys a lot quicker because I feel like I'm doing you guys dirty. I start the chapter, but I don't finish it in a decent amount of time. So I'm gonna start trying to drop it daily. If it doesn't come out the next day, it should be released day after. So yeah, enjoy the video. As we begin the next chapter, we see the red ant from before standing in the doorway to the bar while watching his fellow red ants feast on the corpse of black ants. And by this, we understand that black ants are now food for red ants since their environment is scarce, similar to the desert that the red ant crossed. So as he stands in the doorway, they begin to notice him, and he slams his sword, saying that they found the remaining black ants and that the Black Tribe's god is a more fearsome monster than they could have imagined. Because of that, all they could do was run away. He urges them to strike back, to fight the Black Tribe and their god, and then there's silence. All of the red ants begin to laugh, calling him a coward, that he's shaming himself by stating that he lost to mere food, and other ants say that he should have died on the spot. While they say this, we hear someone in the distance telling them to shut up, and we see that it's the sage of the red ants, number 808 of dawn. It seems like the higher the number, the more powerful the ants are. The sage talks about how he felt the presence of said god and that number 404 is telling the truth. As 404 gets emotional, the ant sage states that this is now the territory of his majesty, the great emperor. The Black Tribe's wicked god is not welcome in our holy ground. We will stop him immediately as he uses his magic to heal the wounds of number 404. And they head out to subdue the Black Tribe's god. As you wakes up in a sweat, he thinks, oh, did I experience the ant's dream? Then a notification goes off on his phone. Number 404 intrusion. Number 808 intrusion. He looks at the screen to see the red ants standing there and gets angry. Right on time. I'll kill you this time. He suddenly sees text that says, nature shall deny evil, and looks bewildered, and on the screen he sees the ants lined up ready to attack him. Then a beam shoots out from his phone, hitting Yu onto the forehead in real life. Yu looks in the air, shocked, while there's a cut on his forehead. While the sage ant charges up yet another attack and shoots Yu once again, he begins to writhe in pain. As the ants cheer, number 404 says, as expected of the great sage. As they celebrate, the sage starts to shiver. He tells everybody to run, while red beams is shining from the sky, ready to destroy all of them. And suddenly it lands onto the sage ant and disintegrates it.
while more beams begin to pop up in the sky and target the other ants. They begin to scream in terror. As we pan back to Yu, we see him truly looking like the evil god as he punches his phone violently with unquantifiable rage. We see the notification, number 809 exploded. Then he snaps back to realization that his phone was ruined and begins to cry. Bling! Congratulations, you have earned the title of evil god. As we begin the next chapter, we see Yu kneeling on his bed over his broken phone while noticing all of the coins piled up in his room. Yu notices a notification on his phone. Bling! The nameless god's karma has surpassed 1,000. Congratulations, you have acquired the title Evil God. He sees that he received a skill called Wicked Slayer F. Battle fortunes will be increased. What do you mean, Wicked Slayer? An evil god. Even without laws, I would be a very kind person. As Yu looks around at the coins, he notices a ring on the floor and picks it up. Oh, what's this? He smells the ring and gets a sweet scent off of it and realizes that it clears his head. He tries to put the ring onto his pinky finger knowing that it barely fits. And as he does this, he feels a great sensation as if he just woke up with a bunch of energy ready to do anything. He notices yet another notification on his phone. Bling! The blind god's eye unique authority has been activated. The ring is being appraised and we see that it's called the Druid's Ring. And it states that it's the ring that the old sage number 808 held for his whole life. Plus, is good for increasing attributes. Yu says, whoa, this is an unexpected development. Does blind god's authority work on other items? And he begins to use it on all of the appliances in his house, giving vague descriptions and special notes on each item. Now, should I stop? Then Yu thinks to himself, with this ring and a new appraisal ability, am I really only a G class? Then we pan back to the paranormal center, where he attempts to get re-evaluated for his hunter rank. The receptionist lets him know that the probability is below 1% that he increased in hunter level, and this time he will have to pay additional 1.5 thousand to get tested. He realizes that if his stats did increase, it will only be at most a F rank, and decides not to retake it because he thinks it will be yet again another waste of money, and he decided to come back at another time. He sits down in a lobby and thinks to himself, I should have spent my time writing a novel. While sitting down, he begins to appraise everyone that he sees in the lobby. Male, alive for 30 years. Special note, has hemorrhoids. Female, alive for 24 years. Special note, pregnant. Then he sees Miri standing in front of the hero poster. We want you, a hero that will save the world. Seong Miri, alive for 19 years. Special note, feeling shock. Yu notices that it was the first time he's seeing someone's full name and wonders why. As he attempts to approach Miri, he thinks curiosity killed the cat as he gets closer. Then we hear someone off into the distance. Do you feel a slight shock right now? As the MC continues to move towards Miri, he sees her information and it remarks that she's thrilled. He thinks to himself, what should I ask her? Will I get slapped for this? He says, hey. Miri notices him and turns around. He asks her, are you feeling thrilled right now? As they stare at each other, Miri starts to look at him annoyed while clenching her fist with lightning. Please don't think I'm weird. I'm not some kind of weirdo. As he thinks, as if she thinks that. As Miri rage continues to boil over, IMC tries to think of a way out of the situation as his phone begins to ring. He looks at his phone relieved and notices that it's his sister calling him. He gets excited and runs away. Sorry, I need to take this call. While he's leaving, Miri looks at him angry yet bewildered. We see that our MC went to the park while on the phone with his sister. Hey sis, where should I pick up my favorite niece? Seriously, you're all happy at the mention of money, and you're asking me not to treat you like an unemployed loafer? Am I an unemployed loafer just because I like money? As he continues to argue on the phone with his sister in the street, he lets her know that he's hanging up because he doesn't want to be late picking up his niece. While standing in the middle of the sidewalk, he thinks, phew, I thought I'd get kicked out because I wasted time on a reevaluation. While bystanders look at him, labeling him crazy for acting like that in public. He reaches the meetup place to see his niece, and while sitting on a bench, his niece calls him uncle, and he thinks, she's so cute. How is it possible for my demon sister to have given birth to such an angel? While looking at her lovingly, his niece asks him, what does dark history mean? He looks drained, thinking about his dark history with Miri and how annoyed she looked. There's something like that in what I updated today. His niece looks at him with an innocent face and asks him, update? What's that? As he couldn't resist her cuteness, he pinches her cheeks as she gets annoyed and pushes him away, screaming at him. He then uses the blind god's eye on his niece to see her information. Yu Il-shin's niece, female human, 5 years old, remarks, wants to eat chocolate ice cream cone. What? She wants to eat chocolate ice cream. While his niece looks away annoyed, he states, shall we go get ice cream? And it piques her interest as she begins to drool. The MC looks at her wondering, what the hell? The MC and his niece have made it to the ice cream shop, and we see that the employee is greeting them. His niece points to the chocolate ice cream as they are up next in line. The MC reaches into his pocket and pulls out change and asks for 1 ice cream cone. As he puts on her counter, the employee looks at him annoyed and says, would you please wait a little while? He wonders if paying with change made her that angry. While she pours a little bit of ice cream on the ice cream cone, he thinks that he has the remote control and points to the machine, God's crushing index finger. And the machine starts to spew out ice cream onto the cone, freaking out the employee. While he apologizes internally, we see him and his niece sitting on a park bench as she's eating ice cream. He asks her, can I have a bite? As he asks that, she pulls away from him, saying no. He knows how peaceful the day is. As he thinks this, his phone starts to go off with a warning notification. What is this? Bling! Cruel Slaughter F has been activated. Due to his activation, the battle luck of the unknown god has been greatly increased. He begins to hear a voice and looks around bewildered, trying to find the source.
Ha ha ha! Oh, the one who walks the path of great evil. I'll devour even the trials that you're experiencing and become a true demon god.
Warning! Yu looks at his niece while she looks up with her terrifying eyes that seem to be looking at something. He looks to see a break in time and space with red eyes glowing. A second later, a thorn bull's head is seen sticking out, looking menacing, with his mouth open and drool leaking everywhere, as if he's ready to devour everything he sees in front of him. Yu says, I'm fucked. The event that we experienced before plays, but this time is just a quick glance, because all of this has been a recollection. But this time we see Yu analyze the bull, and it was after him and the power of the god he acquired. As we see Yu standing on the game-ending bridge, he thinks, unknown god. That's my name and god maker. It was definitely after me. That didn't happen by coincidence. He thinks about the event in size and thinks there was his message when the Thorn Bull died. Bling! You have overcome the trial. Cruel Slaughter has gone up in rank. As a reward, you may purchase a low-class god's authority in the god store without having to spend any coins. However, you are limited to demon god exclusive authorities. All of this is because of the phone. As he winds up to throw it over the bridge, it vibrates, and he sees that it's some kind of saintess trying to get his attention. Saintess?